Hi everyone, greetings from National Skills Network, and today we are going to look into a very interesting industry sector which has creativity, which has manufacturing, which has a lot of scope to provide jobs and also promote entrepreneurship. We are talking about furniture and fitting sector, and this sector skill council is represented by the CEO today. We have with us Mr. Rahul Mehta. So welcome to this talk,
Hello
Mr.
everyone.
Rahul. Yeah, it's indeed good to have you in this talk because we have long planned to have this conversation with you, and finally it has materialized today. Our audience would definitely like to know more about the Sector Skill Council, which is called as Furniture and Fitting. We would really like to know more about what is the scope of this sector, and also what have been some of your milestones, landmark achievements in the 6+ years of journey you have traveled so far.
Thank you so much, Madhuri. And first of all, I would like to take this as an opportunity to congratulate you for the kind of work that you are doing at NSN. Apparently, not just for me, for my team also now, it is a go-to, a platform if you want to know some, quick bits on what is happening in the skill ecosystem, and we do share it with our concerned stakeholders as well. So thank you a lot for starting something like this and actually bringing together the information at one base and creating some knowledge out of it.
Thank you.
So yeah, talking about Furniture and Fitting Skill Council. So primarily, the name, however, highlights furniture as a core thing. Our sector comprises of interiors, furniture, and the enabling industry. So what it means is that we are concerned with creating a skilled ecosystem which can create sustainable workforce, sustainable manpower, sustainable skilled people for the job roles and for the occupations arising in these these subsectors. For example, I would like to share here that maybe let's say we're talking about job roles like interior designing, we're talking about job roles like interior installation, which includes drafting, which includes designing, styling, project management, supervision, on-site installations. It also includes the whole value chain of furniture, which is from designing to designing concept to manufacturing to installation to after sales, sales, etc., etc. And then the enabling segments which are there, like we're talking about timber. So even opportunities of job or career in processing of the timber. So timber, as you know, it comes as a log, and then the log is processed, and there's a whole process. Either you can use it as is, or you can use it as a in a S4S format, or you can use it as a plywood, or processed or derived materials are there. Then laminates, architecture, hardware and fitting, and so on and so forth. So if I were to say the scope that is there for the youth today, or for even for the existing workforce, there are hundreds and more job roles and occupations available wherein you can actually take or build your career.
Yeah. So this industry is quite vast, as you said, and it is also something like I was saying, it has to be very environment friendly. Today we talk about not cutting trees and saving the environment. So the types of woods that are coming, the engineered wood, and maybe some replacement for that, and so on and so forth, right? So I think it's a very exciting industry to be in. But if I have to present a picture of, let's say, somebody who works with the wood, like say a carpenter who does this kind of woodwork, let's say for domestic supplying or for like a small scale industry and so on, we see that most of them are quite unorganized, or they are people for whom this craft, that's why I use the word craft, it is running in their families, or they set up small units and then they do this contractual work and things. So how much of impact would formal training have on such people, and what are the steps being taken from the Sector Skill Council, let's say through RPL or any other such initiatives?
Sure. Okay, so first of all, through your medium, I would like to break the myth, that one, furniture is not limited to carpentry. In fact, carpentry is also not a proper or a holistic display of woodworking. So basically, woodworking is a bigger umbrella under which carpentry is one segment. A very good example to give in that respect would be, if you take examples of the India skills competition that are happening right now and the world skills competition, so how the world recognizes the woodworking segment is that carpenter is different than a joiner is different than a cabinet maker, and cabinet maker is different than the both of these guys. There are the basic elements remain the same, that they all are woodworkers, but they are specializing on doing something or the other. Wherein the joiners and the cabinet makers are professionals who work in a workshop and they create products like, let's say a joiner would create product like a door and window frame. Probably it will create structures like for your sofa, for your chairs, etc. Whereas a cabinet maker would create beautiful cabinets. The French cabinet makers are renowned across the world. While a carpenter is somebody who works on the site, and most of the times he's doing wooden structures on the site, which are like housing structures, which are like paneling, cladding on the site, and also installing the products which have been made by joiners and cabinet makers. So that's the difference between the trade. Also, to break the myth here, a lot of times people say that this is only a craft that runs into the family. Had that been the case, only India would have had the carpenters or woodworkers, no other country would have had. However, outside India, Germany, Europe, Japan, Australia, America, you would find a more organized segment to do with woodworking or furniture manufacturing. And there are degree programs running up to 5 years. Wherein, and the people who are getting choosing these professions, they are getting paid more than a doctor probably there in that country. So that's the difference, and that's a scope. Now coming back to in India, primarily over a period of time, a lot of sectors have been unorganized or have been carried by a certain set of people or a certain community. The way our fabric has been of the society and the caste and the system around it. But nonetheless, these things are not going to be in the same fashion when we go forward. Now the world is opening up. The youth is more aware about the opportunities that are available. They see the opportunity with a different lens. They're not looking at it, okay, this is from this caste, or this is for this community. No, this is not for me. They are getting into it. And you can see with the kind of colleges that are coming up for product designing, product engineering, furniture designing, furniture engineering, interior designing, that it is not limited now to a particular set. So we are continuously doing those kind of awareness drives, programs, to create an awareness amongst the youth, amongst the parents, actually, amongst the learners who are there, so that they understand, no, it is not something that is getting stopped at a particular segment. Another important point here to note is that all engineering programs, as part of the curriculum, in the first year itself, they have carpentry workshop as a mandatory element, along with metal workshop and other things which are there. So if you'll see, the basics of carpentry are taught to an engineering student in the first year itself. Then how can we seclude it or say that, okay, it is not for everybody? So those are the kind of things that we are working on to break the myths and to create awareness amongst the youth so that they can make the most of the opportunity. Because if we are not doing that, India right now is having only less than 1% of the share in the global exports. So just imagine the opportunity that we are missing out because of the thought that we have as a country. So if you break that thought, just imagine the opportunity that is there.
That's true. And good that you elaborated so much, on the kind of, like you said, there are so many myths. Yes, definitely there are myths, and the scope for career is so huge. So also, I think this helps us in breaking the myth that, carpentry or a course in carpenter is not just limited to an ITI level 4 or an NSQF level 4 or 5 kind of a course. That's one of the options. But I think from there, if the person is really interested, can move on, can do so many more things. And like you said, there is huge scope. And from here, I'd like to just touch upon the involvement of industry, because you are representing a sector skill council. And also your website shows that you have such good industry partnership with all the big brands in India. So how does this work, in terms of, let's say, the curriculum, the QP-NOS? Just to give you another example today, like, you were mentioning the raw material. So when you have a different raw material, maybe the way you work with it is different. So are the QPs, is the curriculum updated with that? Or how do you, keep yourself updated or tuned to the requirements of the industry, which is so dynamic?
Okay, so to answer that, since you talk about the industry part of it, I would like to mention here that even I am from the industry background. I actually was working as the CEO of a renowned company and we were into manufacturing, and we were having processing lines for more than 6 to 7 different types of products. And the reason why we got affiliated with or associated with the Furniture and Fitting Skill Council was because of the fact that we were actually having a real requirement. The first time I approached the council was that we have requirement for 200 people. Can you provide us 200 skilled workforce? So the requirement was real. That is the reason why we all have joined and we have come together. And the industry is very well aware about that part, that how beneficial this whole project can be collectively for the industry and for individuals who are part professionals and part of it. Now, when we talk about the role that we have to play, we are proud to say that as a council, we do not outsource the standards development part. It is completely done by a structure and a format that has been created within the council, which is basically run by a board of standards, which is basically a team of industry-led people, academicians, good universities which are there part of it. And along with that, we have dedicated occupation-based NOS groups, which is called National Occupation Standard Group. So let's say you have to develop something for interior designing, then we have a NOS group for interior designing. If you have to develop something for furniture fitting installation, we have a dedicated group for that. We have to develop something for bamboo, then we have a dedicated group for that, which comprises of the subject matter experts in their own capacity participating in that. And it is not just limited to that. Once this is done, we also reach out to the industry partners, small, medium, and large, for the relevance of the whatever work we have done and whatever job roles we have created or whatever qualifications we have created. We take an approval from them, we take their insights, we take their feedback, and we improvise before we go in for getting an NSQC approval on that front. So whatever work we are doing, we ensure that it is one, as per the industry requirement and as per the industry demand, what is required on the job. And secondly, it is in line with what is the current trend and what is the future trend as well. So very recently, last year, we actually kind of retired all our job rules were there, the previous job rules were there, and we have developed everything as a fresh thing. A very important and a very interesting fact to know here would be, like in MBA, you have specializations like finance, HR, marketing, operations. Similarly, when you're talking about, let's say, furniture manufacturing, furniture designing, or interior design, there are specializations. So an interior designer can be specialized in doing residence or in kitchens, or hospitality, or probably hospitals, or probably commercial spaces or retail fit outs. Now, those segregations and those differentiation or specializations were never highlighted earlier.
Yeah.
So we as a council have taken that onus on us, and we have created specialization. So even when you'll go on our website, under the qualification, you will find that our job roles are created in that particular manner that give an option for specialization to the particular learner. And it is not just limited to interior designing. It is the same with when you talk about, let's say, even as a case as a carpentry. So even a carpenter who wants to grow, he can specialize in doors and windows. He can specialize in paneling and cladding. He can specialize in staircases. There are a lot of people who want to do only repairs and maintenance work. So there is a specialization available for that as well. And even going forward, the kind of programs that we're creating, whether it is for upholstery, whether it is for machine jobs, whether it is for surface finishing, or it is for sales, these will come with specialization elements into it so that a person can actually get himself aligned with the appropriate subsector that he's looking for.
Yeah. I think this specialization also has a huge market, right? Because these days the consumers also are very choosy, and they want something very specific, like somebody is designing, doing the flat decoration or interior design. They would definitely want something very unique. So I think this provides a lot of scope. And very importantly, you mentioned something like again, going back to the typical example of a carpenter or somebody who's working with wood. Today he or she has the option to develop a complete career, or also take up entrepreneurship, or get into designing and become an interior designer, because you're showing this path that, look, there are so many specializations. That's, I think, very interesting. And now coming to the academia side of it, because sector skill councils also deal with academic partnerships, do you also promote something like a degree program like BVOC in any of these specializations or degrees? Do you have such partnerships? Because we from NSN have always been talking about making it aspirational through higher education, through apprenticeships, through degree apprenticeships, programs like this. So is there something going on right now in this regard?
Sure. So first of all, I'd like to put it in a positioning manner to understand what are the opportunities available in very simple takeaway words. So we have design, build and install related opportunities available.
Okay.
Now, even the programs which are there are basically based out for designing, installation, and build, kind of a interest that a person would have. It can be mix and match of both things, two of these things, three of these things, or so on and so forth. Now, when we talk about academic role or partnerships in this thing, we'd like to share here that there have been a lot of universities and also colleges, standard colleges and institutes who have taken up the curriculums or the programs that we have developed. And they have utilized the same to either make a diploma, advanced diploma, or a BVOC program as well. So, BVOC program in design and build is very popular of Srishti Manipal University. It's probably the third or fourth batch which is running since the inception that they've taken up these programs, and they're continuously working on providing these opportunities to the students. In fact, even the way we are making it, we are promoting it in the same way that a person has an interest in design or in installation or in building or making part of it, they can take up the roles accordingly. So when you see that, okay, I want to go into design, maybe I'm not into space design, I want to go into a furniture as a product design, so I can get into that part of it also. So yes, there are academic tie-ups, and in fact, I mentioned the word board of standards. So our board of standards comprises of these premier institutes like CEP, NID, IWST, and so on and so forth, wherein these people are coming together and they're also helping in creation of these job roles and in usage of these job roles in the right manner. Adding on to the same, we are also looking at schools. So whatever job roles you will see on our website also, or the future job roles that we'll be doing, these are all made from the levels that it can actually be inducted in the schools. Now, take an example here. It's something that I keep on saying again and again. Till 8th, we are giving a child option to do everything that he wants to do. He's good at art and craft and everything, and he's doing all of that part. He understands mathematics, he has geometry, everything is there. And suddenly, after 8, the whole focus changes on no. Now you have to put the tunnel vision on and you have to focus in one direction only. Suddenly he drops the art part of it, suddenly drops the craft part of it, the drawing and other parts of it. Now just imagine two-case scenario here. He has dropped all of these things. Now 4 years later, he wants to pursue interior designing or furniture designing or product designing again. He's again picking up all those things 4 years later.
Right.
Now with the new system that is being there with NEP also, what we are trying to do is that we're bringing level 2, level 3 programs here in the school itself. So what happens is that the person is not dropping his interest in art and science, art and crafts. He can continue it, pursue it in terms of CAD drawings, hand sketching and other things like that, and get towards a specialization. So level 2, level 3, and then he can continue with level 4, 5, 6 into colleges. Or multiple entry, multiple exit kind of system. So yes, not just in colleges, but also schools, both the part of it, we are working towards collaboration with them, increasing the program that we have with them.
Yeah, I think most importantly at schools, besides all that you said, it also helps in, creating awareness about the dignity of work, sensitizing them that, all work is of same value and things, which is very much essential to make vocational education and training aspirational, I think. And also, I remember looking at the CBSE syllabus, right? They also have a mention of wood related, one of the subjects. I think the choice is in the vocational subjects, they have one of the choices in this domain. So I guess, it's going to help them, like you said, sensitizing or realizing, where their interest lies, and not making the mistake and regretting later that they couldn't follow this path. And very importantly, again, NEP 2020 is opening up so many new avenues. So we are very happy to know that this is one of the things which is being taken up by the Sector Skill Council. So besides this, I think the other kind of partnerships that you have is to do with, let's say, assessments, your partnerships and accreditations for the training partners. So today, how is the scenario working? Are there still programs like PMKVY being implemented in this sector, RPL and other things, or you're looking at long-term programs? Or and I also read about your initiatives in the rural segment, maybe you're looking at some clusters where probably would the artisans from the wood industry are there. So is there something of this kind happening also along with this?
Okay, I'll try to sum, kind of, because there are 2-3 questions patched in the one that you asked. So one, let's talk about the cluster first of all. So clusters are essentially everywhere.
Hmm.
You cannot separate furniture from anybody's life. From the time a child is born to the time somebody goes away, you cannot eliminate furniture or the spaces which are around him. Whether it is in terms of school, whether it is in terms of college, whether it is in terms of office spaces, whether it is in terms of the house that you live in, or the restaurants that you go walk in, anything that you talk about, you cannot take away the interior and the furniture part from their life. So in terms of clusters, when we say traditionally the clusters which were present in India were basically represented, any furniture cluster was represented mainly with the wood cluster. Wherever the wood was available or the wood processing was happening, like maybe a Jodhpur, a Saharanpur, a Gandhidham, etc., these were known as the clusters. However, if you go deeper, you will find that the clusters are all across, especially with the influx of modular furniture in the country. Now, so you will see that there is a heat map. There are a lot of places where the clusters are there, and there are a lot of mom and pop shops also, and a lot of brands also across the country. So that's where the scope of this is across the country. Somewhere maybe it's growing, and somewhere it's a high level. So that's the cluster part of it. The second is I'll connect the dot here with the aspirational value and the training programs. For whom are these training programs actually? And then I'll go to the part of PMKVY and the other programs are running. See, the aspirational value has to be there for the people who have actually made their career in this industry over the years, which is the existing workforce. I would denote it like that. And the second one is for the youth, which are like the fresh ones who can get into the industries and capture this opportunity. Now, to create an aspirational value, I see recognition of people who have done something in this industry as a very important message and as a very important tool. We recognize doctors, we recognize engineers, we recognize MBAs, lawyers, etc. Why not recognize people who have actually built your houses, who have actually provided the spaces wherein you work, wherein you live, wherein you go for entertainment purposes? So that, in that regards, the recognition of prior learning is a very important tool which helps us for that matter. Secondly, it also helps us in mapping the unorganized sector.
Right.
More importantly, it is not just about saying that okay, it's a recognition, but it's also about mapping that these people exist, and such a huge number of people have actually built a career which is not a mainstream one.
Yeah.
And they provided livelihood to their families. So why not now, with an organized approach, people can make a career in that field? So that can be an example for the freshers as well. The existing people can be an example for freshers as well. So this is the second part of it. Now let's move on to the part of how are the programs helping in all those things. Now there are programs for existing workforce, there are programs for the freshers who are there. Now existing workforce programs can be named as recognition of prior learning, mapping, upskilling or reskilling, which is there. Okay, so yes, PMKVY has been has played an important role, because I would look at it, like when I look at it from, let's say, a business perspective or a marketing perspective, essentially Skill India was a product that was launched. So PMKVY was a medium to take this out to the audience or the target audience. Okay, and in that regard, RPL helped to kind of reach out to the audience and map it and do an upskilling program. And secondly, for freshers, short-term training programs have actually been of great value. Now, whether it is in a school format, college format, standalone training format, this is very important. So any organization, whether it is MSD directly, whether it is state skill missions directly, whether it is any NPO and NGO who are funding the programs, or any cause-driven industry partner who's funding the program through CSR or other things like that, all these programs are very important. And we hope that these are continued in future as well, whether it is through PMKVY medium, through SSDM medium, etc., because these programs are very important. However, going forward, our aim should be that these programs should provide a good career opportunity, self and wage employment, that these are fee-based model programs in that case. Because until unless everything is given for free, it is charged for, or it is a value is created, people would not realize the value. It's a mindset thing actually, that free में मिलता है तो हमें लगता है कि उतनी value नहीं है.
I know, yeah, that's true. And what about apprenticeships? Because the Sector Skill Council also has a mandate, and I think you also organize awareness workshops and things from your Sector Skill Council. How has been the response from the industry for apprenticeship adoption?
See, Madhu, that's why I said, what you are doing as a work is very important. Reason being that you are actually bridging the gap between, the person and the knowledge which is required through your medium, and like that, all of us together have to take this initiative to create awareness about these various such good programs are there. apprenticeship, I look apprenticeship as the gateway to a successful career. And I'm not somebody who's born today looking at it and saying that this is a new thing that I'm trying to introduce or talk about or promote. There are proven examples. Look at German economy. Just look at this German dual VET system. They have been doing it for more than 40 years now. That they have apprenticeship as a base for any learner who's coming out of college to get trained in the industry, get trained in a formal manner, and then join the industry from there on and therefore. Industry also knows that this person is having the right understanding, awareness, and the skill set for the training. So the conversion to a job, conversion to an employment, wage or self becomes very easy. So apprenticeship is the gateway, and we all should promote it in that particular manner. There should be dedicated sessions for schools, colleges, existing workforce, parents also, very importantly, that they understand the importance of apprenticeship, and also the industry part of it. And there are a lot of reforms happening on the apprenticeship front. That is why we keep on conducting orientation workshops for industry, for learners, and so on and so forth. And we are glad to share that most of our programs that we're developing now, we are embedding an apprenticeship element into it. Okay. Let's say a person is doing a level 2 program, then there should be a level 2 apprenticeship attached with it. They're doing level 3 program, there should be a level 3 apprenticeship attached with it. And post that, they should get a job opportunity. However, still scratching the surface, a lot needs to be done. Industry is warming up to that because it is also a mandate by the act, so they need to do it. But I think so more than the mandate, they should understand the benefits which are there, and that's what we are trying to promote. We keep on doing these workshops every month. Industry benefit.
And one more important point, before I conclude this, is your performance in the skills competitions from the Sector Skill Council. And, congratulations for, conducting it so well. I think you have your trainers who are specially trained, to train these youth in taking part in the competitions. So maybe you can tell us a bit about it, and how is it going to be in the upcoming World Skills competitions, which are going to be held in Shanghai, I guess next year, is it? Or this year?
This year. Shanghai 2022. Finally, hopefully, fingers crossed, no Omicron and other scares.
So far so good. So let's hope it happens on time. Maybe you can give us a gist of how all this went off, and the performance was so good. So please tell us more.
Sure. I've been associated with the skill competition since the first time Furniture and Fitting Skill Council participated for one trade only. And I'm very happy that this year we are participating for 3 trades. We're representing India for 3 trades.
Okay.
Cabinet making, joinery, and carpentry.
Okay.
Carpentry has been added this year. And this year, there were more than 1,000 people who applied for the various competitions. And I must say the results were fantastic. The kind of candidates we've got, we never got them earlier. And the most important part about these competitions is that it builds the aspirational value amongst the youth. Now, if you'll see, I'd like to give an example here. If you'll see the World Skills format, how it is done, in World Skills competition, whichever country it happens, the schools, the colleges, the youth is invited there to see what is happening. And one go, they witness over those 4 to 5 days, 50 plus different types of, job roles are there in which they can build a career. Now, that's the right time for the youth to understand, okay, this is an opportunity that I have. This is an opportunity that I have. Probably I have more interest in something to do with designing, something to do with manufacturing. I can take up these career options. The last time when India Skills happened, I'm not about this time, the last time, the whole setup was done. There was colleges and young learners who were coming, and they're witnessing all of that part. Industry was coming, they're witnessing, okay, this is also possible. Now, all this is creating a workforce, creating a skilled workforce that is actually going to change the way Indian industry works. And so from that perspective, World Skills competition, the skill competitions are very, very important.
Right.
How we are adding value through skill competition is that our industry has from the beginning been very progressive in thought and in approach, that they are coming forward to train the manpower, to train the kids who have got, put their own skilled workforce on that for that matter, to for the training purposes. Over the period, we have also as a council built capacity in-house to train these people. And we're looking forward to create a World Skills Academy wherein we can train the shortlisted candidates and provide them good career opportunity going forward. We've also made skill competitions an important element of whatever training we are doing. For example, in one of the programs that we are doing for Adarsh Gram Yojana, and we're going into 5 states, 25 villages, we have introduced skill competition as an element wherein the skill competitions are happening at a batch level, then it is happening at a district level, then it is happening at a state level, and then finally the national level. And of these people, these are existing workforce who are there. They have never experienced something like that.
Okay.
And when they take back this message to their homes, to their communities, the word spreads. The whole idea of, my kid doesn't want to pursue woodworking, or he doesn't want to get into this thing. Maybe he doesn't want to get into this thing, but when he sees this thing, he probably thinks, okay, maybe I should, or maybe I can get into designing part of it. So उससे change आएगा, उससे बहुत फर्क पड़ेगा. Skill competition can actually be a game changer, in terms of skilling.
Yeah. So when they witness it, it's like seeing is believing. So they get excited, they get curious, I think, which is very important for anyone. Ask the right questions and perhaps even think of pursuing a career. That's like you said, it's important also to build the aspirational value. And in a country like India, where all of us are struggling to promote vocational, I think this really is, like you said, it's going to be a game changer in the coming months and years. So besides these points, Rahul, is there something else you would like to share with our audience? Maybe a message for the young people who would be probably watching this about opportunities in the sector?
Yes, my message would be that vocational education is the future. There is no escape from that. And I can speak that as an individual who has been a professional working for various organizations. I can speak that as an industry partner. I can speak that as a skill ecosystem. Reason being that as a industry, when I employ or when I recruit somebody, we are always looking for the right skill sets. And more often than not, what happens is that we take freshers, we take people, and then we are trying to teach them things on the job in a particular manner. Now that whole exercise is very cost intensive. It is not standardized. It doesn't give us, right kind of training or productive training in a short span of time to the learner also. Now here comes Indian vocational skill ecosystem, which is trying to solve this whole challenge, making it more productive and efficient, and actually bridge the gap between the learner and the industry. So you no more have to go through the 6 to 10 months or 12 months of gestation period after being on the job to understand what is required to be done, and etc. etc. So the learner is becoming productive, the industry is becoming more efficient and growing. As a country, we are growing in that particular format. So yes, vocational education is the future. There is no shying away from that. The better we opt for it, the better, the more results we can get as a country, as an individual, and as as an industry.
Yeah, thank you so much for re-emphasizing the importance of vocational education, which, as you said, is going to play a very important role in, in creating an equitable kind of, option for people, various opportunities, so that they can match their interests and also look for jobs. And if they want, they can continue with higher education. So I think we are in for very exciting times with NEP, and also various initiatives like what you're doing from the furniture and fitting sector skill council. So we look forward to be in touch with you and also learn more as you keep growing and as you keep taking up new initiatives. Thank you so much, and let's be in touch. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.